a youth, but was not dressed out, did not play. Could even be mistaken for a very young coach, from what I understand. As the mascot went by him, the young man apparently turned around and smacked the older gentleman, the mascot, in the back of the head, knocking off his hat. In reaction, he turned to whoever it was that hit him, and apparently that's when the fight took off. And everybody got involved. Some coaches for the Outlaws were smart enough to get the Outlaw players out of the melee and ushered them over to the far end zone to get out of it. But in the middle of the football field was an all-out, drag-out, MMA-style. It looked like WWE wrestling going on, where everybody ends up in the ring. You end up with like 30 people in a little small wrestling ring going at it. And I got to tell you, if you were there, you saw what happened. You saw what went on and how it all went down. And even saw some of the Hurricane players jumping into it and throwing punches. It was the most disgusting thing I ever saw. And I've seen a lot of football. Not just in the state of Texas, but around the nation. And I've seen some brawls break out. But this was absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, here's my thoughts on this. If you were there and you want to chime in, 979-353-4421. That's the number to call. 979-353-4421. The adults involved. Shame on you. This is not an attack, because I already know that there are some coaches from the Farm League Hurricanes that don't care so much about what I have to say, and that's fine. That's fine. That all goes back to last year, because I would not proclaim Demir Scott the best running back in Taifa, and I won't do that. I'll never do that. I've never done that in any year that I've done radio. I will never call a youth player the best in any league, period. I won't do it. Because they are youth football players. So they can have whatever feelings they have about me. That's fine. Because I will always stick to my guns on that. And if you don't like it, that's too bad. But the coaching staff, I don't care whether it's a Hurricane coach or an Outlaw coach. If you threw a punch, you were wrong. And I know I'm going to hear all this. Oh, I'm going to take care of mine. Ain't nobody going to roll up on me. I get it. Got to punch that chest. Got to punch that chest. Make sure everybody knows you live in that thug life. Because that's what I hear. That's what you see on social media. That's all the talk you hear is like, now ain't nobody going to disrespect me. Now, let's forget the fact that we're on this football field to teach these young men how to be men. Let's forget that we're teaching these young men about how to behave in a public and social situation. Let's forget that we're there trying to keep these young men off the streets doing exactly what you just did in the middle of a football field. I saw a Facebook post just last week. Young man that played youth football, tragically killed. In a drive-by. These are the kind of things that we're trying to keep these young kids out of. I get defend yourself. Don't get me wrong. I get the whole defend yourself. I didn't say stand there and let someone knock the snot out of you. But all the coaches involved, all the adults involved, that let it get to the point that it got yesterday, should have had cooler heads and backed it off. It never should have gotten to what it got to on that football field at the end of that game. And I use this line, and I know all of you that watched the show Friday Night Tykes, that watched the 4th season of Friday Night Tykes last year. And you know what game I'm talking about. It was the biggest game that was shown on the show, season 4, and it created a whole big old stink. I cannot believe the number of messages, phone calls that I got over that episode. And the show producers used the line that I stated during the radio broadcast. And that was a fantastic football game ruined by adults. Instead of being able to celebrate a fantastic victory, instead of the two teams being able to come together, congratulate each other, and know that they just had one of the better football games they'll probably have all season long. Because of the ridiculous act of one and the stupidity, and I said it, stupidity, of those who should have known better. This game was ruined by adults. And I know probably by tomorrow morning, I'm going to have probably about 200 hate mails or messages, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, email. Those that have my phone number will text me. And I've given the phone number numerous times already, 979-353-4421. And not a single call. So if you're one of those that's going to message me later, whether you're listening live right now, whether you go back and listen to the podcast later, and you sit there and all of a sudden you've got everything in the world to say, your opportunity was now. And if you can't say something now, don't be coming to me hours or days later talking about how I'm wrong. Because there's no way you're going to convince me that I am not right. I am right. I coached youth football. I've been on that sidelines. I've been in those situations. And there is not a single time in the years that I've ever coached youth sports, football, baseball, basketball, soccer, it didn't matter. Whatever I coached for my kids, whatever I did on the sidelines, it never came to this. And there were plenty of times that it could have. Plenty of times. And I was much younger then as well. I was much younger then. And I would have been one of those that would have got into it. But I'm telling you right now, it never did. Because I knew I was representing those young men on that field. I was their coach. I was the one that was trying to show them how to act in public, how to be able to handle a situation of this nature and not take it to the extent that it got taken yesterday. If I'm on the board of Texas Select right now, I'm looking at a list of coaches, and I want to know, and if anybody's got the film, I want to see that film. I want to see who threw punches. I don't care who you were. If you threw a punch on that football field, you are no longer coaching in my league. Period. End of story. I don't even want to hear your excuse. Because your job as a youth football coach is to be the example to those young men. And the example that just got shown to them, you think about this moment 5, 6, 10 years from now. And hope that none of these players took this with them. The most disgusting display that I ever seen in youth sports. And I even had some people that did message me asking if I caught it all. Did I talk about it on the air? Did I describe what was going on? No, I didn't describe what was going on. Why would I broadcast that? I'm there to broadcast a great football game, not a blow-by-blow of idiots on a football field. If I wanted to broadcast idiots, I'd go to a midget wrestling. I'd go to a midget wrestling event. This has no place in youth sports, and I'm telling you right now, Texas Select, if you're listening, I would get a hold of any footage that people posted on Facebook, because it's out there. I've already seen some of it. And some of you may probably have noticed, I haven't even asked for any of the footage. I haven't even asked for it. I don't want to look at it. I saw it firsthand. There's no reason for me to have to see the footage. I don't care. I'm not on the board for Texas Select, and you better damn well be glad I'm not. Because there'll be a lot of adults right now that'd be out of a coaching job. You'd be watching the games from now on outside the fence. And obviously for the lack of phone calls means you've got no defense on this whatsoever. None. Absolutely none. So let me end this with on a positive note, because I like to go out of positive things. The 12U teams, San Antonio Outlaws and the Houston Hurricanes, played a fantastic football game. If you want to hear the football game, go to nationalyouthsportsradio.com. Click on the link to listen live. It'll take you to the archives, and you can go to the SA Outlaws versus TFL Hurricanes. Listen to the podcast, the play-by-play, and it was a great, great football game throughout the day. But you will not hear that other crap that happened afterwards. We'll be back.
You're listening to NYSR, National Youth Sports Radio.
Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, lacrosse, soccer, and so much more. Dunright Athletics creates extremely high-quality team uniforms at a fraction of the price of those other guys. They can take your team's logo and put it on your choice of jersey in any size from youth to adult. That's sublimation, screen print, twill, and embroidery. Be ready for game day. Get your team's uniforms today. Call them at 1-800-396-3991 or visit them at www.dunrightathletics.com. Don't delay. Check out all the custom styles they have to offer, and don't forget to mention that Christian the Radio Guy sent you.
Brett Cooper Football. It's the Brett Cooper Football Junior Academic All-American Game, December 27th to the 31st in Dallas, Texas. The #1 bowl game in the nation, celebrating excellence on the gridiron as well as excellence in the classroom. Scouts from some of the top schools in the country will be there, coaching by former NFL players and much more. Bowl games in 10U, 12U, 14U, and freshman 15U, as well as a high school seniors bowl game. to nominate your player for a chance to be selected as a Brett Cooper Jr.